What's good, everybody? Brant here with CPC Bodybuilding. Before we get started with the Texas State Pro preview, just wanted to shout out Evogen Nutrition, my supplement partner. This video is brought to you by them. They're currently having a sale in honor of the Mr. Olympia, 15% off all products. If you like what I'm doing here with CPC Bodybuilding and Classic Physique, you can support me by purchasing Evogen Nutrition supplements and apparel. You can use code CPC at checkout. That is evogennutrition.com. You can find the link to them in my bio, and then also find them at evogennutrition.com. Click here on Instagram if you'd like to find them. Evogen makes great supplements. Hani Rambod, the greatest coach in the world, coach of Chris Bumstead, Hadi Chupon, and Derek Lunsford and Sydney Gillen, 7-time figure Miss Olympia. He owns a supplement company. They make great products. I use them year round, off season, in season. So go check them out. Support me with my code. And then also a big announcement as well. Collection 1 from CPC Bodybuilding, my bodybuilding brand, is coming out this Saturday at 11:11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll have the shop live. I've got 3 new products. You can preview those here on my Instagram. A black classic t-shirt, a black trucker hat, as well as the oversized gold pump cover. So make sure you check that out. Without further ado, let's jump into the preview. Hey, what's good, everybody? This is Brant with CPC Bodybuilding, the home of men's classic physique. Today, we'll be previewing the Texas State Pro in men's classic physique. I got a special guest, IFBB Classic Physique Pro, Will Sage, joining me today to talk through the lineup. Will, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Great, dude. I'm real happy to have you on. Feel like it was a long time coming, so looking forward to previewing this one, bro.
I agree. We've been going back and forth on Instagram for a little bit, so I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, man. I think you were one of probably the first guys I covered when I started this a little over a year ago when you did Southwest Muscle.
Yep.
So
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, man. Wild. But yeah, guys, so today we're going to be previewing the Texas State Pro and men's classic physique. And Will is the special guest because I thought it would be a good idea to have him on, given that he just took second at Ultimate Warriors Pro. So he's fresh off of a show, very strong performance there. And then also Will is a Texan himself. So kind of just made sense.
I actually live like 20 minutes away from the venue, 25, 30 minutes away. So
yeah, so this will be perfect. If you guys see Will, make sure you go say hi. So
I'll be there.
All right. So what we'll do is go ahead and I'll share my screen and go through the show logistics and the show lineup. All right. So before we get rolling with everything, I want to make sure again to thank my special guest, Will Sage, for joining me to preview the show today, taking time out of his day. Make sure you go give him a follow here on Instagram. His tag is WillSage_. And then we'll also plug all this stuff at the end too, just to make sure y'all are supporting him. But he does have his own coaching business. And I can speak from having seen a lot of his clients on his page over the past year or so. Will is a very, very talented and knowledgeable coach. If you guys are looking for a coach, make sure you check him out. His coaching page is right here, Precision Elite. And then use his codes for Iron Willed. He's an Iron Willed athlete too. They make some dope clothes that I personally wear myself. Yeah, they got some big drops coming up, Black Friday stuff. So make sure you check out all of his links here and support him. So without further ado, we'll get into the Texas State Pro stuff. So like I said, show is this Saturday, November 11th in San Marcos, Texas. And we got the schedule right here. Galvanized Productions, they always put on a great show. I can speak from experience, having covered a lot of their shows in the past. And I'm not sure if there's going to be a live stream, but if there is one, I'll be sure to put it in the YouTube video as well as put it on my Instagram. But here is the tentative lineup here for Saturday. So you can see that they're going to start out with the NPC athletes at 8 a.m. Central Time. and the IFBB division. So we've just got figure and classic in the middle. So they're going to go in between a few of the NPC divisions. So I would probably expect these guys to go on sometime around 10 a.m., maybe 11 a.m. Central Time for prejudge. And then finals, probably sometime around 6 or 7 p.m. Central Time. So that's kind of what to expect in terms of show times. Now to get into the lineup. So a relatively small lineup here, but it's definitely not lacking any talent. So here is our updated lineup. So we've got Chibueze Anyasor, Anthony Barbera III, Emilio Bourne, Kyrie Cooper, who's making his pro debut, Dron Delgado, also making his pro debut, Abdul Gibbs, Kalachinsky, the Miracle Bear, fresh off a third place finish at the Classic Olympia last weekend, jumping in. He's already qualified, though, because the top three already qualify for next year's Olympia. He's just trying to, kind of test the waters, maybe also secure some extra cash to win some other shows. He's also planning on doing another show after this, so this will not be his last stop after the Olympia. We've also got Mehdi Lariani, who was a 2022 Olympian. We got Rob Lawrence making his pro debut, a good friend of mine. Eric Wildberger, fresh off an Olympia debut, as well in Classic Physique this year. Jesus Martinez making his pro debut, Jamal Ono, and Bo Santos. That's our full Classic Physique lineup right there. So our first competitor, this is Chibueze Anyasor. So pull my notes off to the side. So his last appearance was the 2020 Texas Battle of Texas, actually. So this is a guy who hasn't competed in a bit, but when I look at his Instagram, I definitely think that he's got a lot of talent. Definitely a solid classic competitor. He's a Texas guy as well. So I'm going to try to find something recent. This is from, that looks like it's at Roman Empire, actually. He looks like he's just training everywhere in Texas. Let's see.
Yeah, I recognize Factory Gym. I saw like a green one. It's Austin.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Not the most recent shot, but just from looking at this, I really like his shape. Well, what can you say about Chibueze here?
I've honestly never seen this guy, but instantly, just from the last few posts you pulled up, his quads, man. His quads look freaking great. Great shape. His back double looks good, so not lacking, any density there. Overall, I just like to see how conditioned he gets because, I'm unsure.
Yeah, that was kind of the one question mark when I was looking through his stage photos. He definitely doesn't lack any shape or structure. He's got plenty of muscle on him, especially like you said in the quads there. His arms look great, really full round chest. I think probably the one thing that just set him back a bit at the Battle of Texas last time he competed was the condition, from what I could tell. So a guy who he's got a good shot at, being in that top 10 if he can just dial the condition in. So
for sure.
It's Chibueze Anyasor. Next up, we've got Anthony Barbera III, Coach Barbs on Instagram. And Will, I know you've seen this guy around because it seems like everybody in the IFBB's probably competed with Barbs at this point because Barbs he's run it, last year and this year.
Seven shows this year?
Maybe? 7 shows this year. Yeah, Barbs is really just powering through.
Yeah.
So what are Barbs' strengths from your point of view?
And right off the gate, conditioning. He's a hard guy to beat condition-wise. Has really, really good muscle maturity. Like you see him and you see graininess. You know what I mean? That almost bodybuilder-esque freakiness to it. Has good separation in the glutes, has striated glutes, good hamstrings. I think the only thing that I saw from the Hurricane was I noticed, I don't know if it's the length of the season, I feel like his back just didn't have as much pop to it. So I think that's going to be the make or break for him this show.
Yeah, I do know there was kind of an issue with food and electrolytes at that last show. So I ran into them so I competed at that show on the amateur side, and I ran into him and his coach, Sebastian. We were talking, and Barbs was like throwing up right before check-ins on Friday. So he lost something like, I want to say like 7 pounds before weigh-ins. So I definitely don't think his look was as full as it could have been, and that probably is what kind of lost that pop to his muscles. So he's had a little bit of time to put some food back in and probably titrate up, do a little bit of feeding. So
and he's dangerous, like in any lineup he's a dangerous guy for sure.
Yeah, 100%. 2022 Olympian for a reason. So that is Anthony Barbera III. Next up, we got a guy who just recently made his pro debut, I believe. This is Emilio Bourne. This is from his 6th place finish at the Hurricane Pro. And looking at this 4K video, I love the lines on this guy. I think he's got very, very crisp lines. Good shape too. Well, what do you think of this?
I agree. I mean, I saw him. I obviously wasn't there. I did see the shots. I watched the show, the live stream, and I was really impressed by him. Like you said, his lines are deep. Overall, great look. I feel like this video almost doesn't do him justice because I did see like a lot more classic posing when he was on stage versus like his side chest here kind of looks very, very like more like a bodybuilder than classic. But he definitely has the lines. He has great conditioning. I could have argued he could have even been a little bit higher at Hurricane too. So I think he's a solid one in the lineup as well.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. I think he's got first call out potential here if the cards fall his way. So that's Emilio Bourne. Next up, we got somebody making their pro debut. This guy is so talented and such a hard worker. This is Kyrie Cooper. He is also a Texas guy. He's based out of the San Antonio area, I believe. So he just recently turned pro at Nationals last year in Class B. So he won Class B in Classic, and then he also won a pro card. I think I could be wrong here, but it's either Class E or Class F in men's physique. I'm not the most familiar with men's physique divisions, but 2 pro cards at Nationals last year. So very, very talented and capable guy. We're going to get into some shots here. I'll pull up his Nationals posing right here. Instagram will load. Kyrie's one of those guys who has just great shape, extremely tiny waist, huge lats. I want to say he did Texas State last year as an amateur and won the overall.
That's where I recognize him from.
Incredibly talented guy.
I was wondering where I recognize him from.
Yeah, this is from Nationals last year, and he's put on some tissue. So, Will, what do you think of just the structure, man?
Honestly, even if you go to like that men's physique shot from Nationals, like just look at his core there. Like his core there is abs, his waist, like that's impressive. You know what I mean? I think if he was able to bring up, put that muscle on, like you said, like he's really solid. I mean, it's hard to beat a waist like that. I mean, that probably looks like it's 25, 26 inches.
Yeah, just crazy. He's one of those guys who when I first saw him last year, I saw like top tier pro potential just in that amateur show that he won. So I think Kyrie is he's just starting out his pro career. He's just got to put the size on, and I think he's going to be a threat coming up here in the next couple of years.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say it has a lot of potential, and he's taller, so just by looking at him, he has a lot of room to fill in, and probably a lot of the cap to fill in too. So he's going to be someone to look out for, without a doubt.
Yeah, 100%. So that is Kyrie Cooper. Next up, we have Dron Delgado making his pro debut. He's a Masters pro turned pro at 2020 Universe in middleweight Masters bodybuilding. This guy is just thick, super, super dense, grainy. I mean, this guy is a bodybuilder through and through, but he's making that classic weight too, so might make things kind of interesting there. I'll pull up, see if we can get some stage shots, because this guy has some gnarly looking muscle. You can see here he is also a coach. So let's see. So this is from Universe where he turned pro. These are a little blurry, but I mean that's him on the far right there. That's a middleweight. He's that's just crazy. Big. I think probably, I mean, granted, a lot could have happened in the past 3 years, but I personally, what I see is the back is probably the weak point.
I agree.
Front shots are great, but I think he could probably use a little bit more thickness, especially through the mid back. Maybe a little bit more lats and then glutes as well. Hamstrings look good though.
I think it's gonna come down to for this guy if he just has that classic look. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. Definitely not going to be lacking any muscle. So that is Dron Delgado. Next up, we got Abdul Gibbs, who is a Masters Classic Physique Pro. So this is from Hurricane, where he took second in the 50-plus division and third in the 40-plus. And this guy looks fantastic for over 50. Just incredible. He's a taller guy, too. So I actually saw him at the Southern Muscle Showdown, which was my first show this year. He had some athletes competing there. And he's, I mean, like, don't let these photos fool you. He's a big guy. He's just got that big frame, the wide clavicles, you know, great structure for classic too. So that is Abdul Gibbs. Next up, we got probably the favorite heading into the show. Not probably, definitely the favorite. This is the Miracle Bear Kalachinsky, coming off of a third place finish at his third Mr. Olympia in Classic Physique. Will, what can you say about Kalachinsky?
Like this, bro, this guy's insane. I mean, just going to, like, if you go to, you know, those photos of even like where he's just flexing his glutes and they're just peeled, man. I mean, he doesn't have many gaps. His quads are insane, adductors, small waist. He can pose. He put on a lot of size. Just look at that. That's
yeah,
crazy.
It's from the off season.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. You know, definitely, I would say, you know, the front runner going into the show, obviously. I'm actually just curious to see if they're going to try any changes for the Olympia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm very curious to see, and I'll be there. So, you know, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I think his Olympia look was his best yet because he's known for being just bone dry, hard, separated. But to me, I think he looked a lot fuller at this Olympia than previous years.
I agree. That would have been my only critique prior, was he just didn't have that pop. I mean, I remember last year, I think he did the Boston, and I remember, you know, a good friend of mine, Tony, was like neck and neck with him. You know, Tony's 5'4", you know, so maybe 5'3". And so I was just like, that's what I noticed there versus Olympia. Now I'm like, this guy really, you know, put on some size. He came in fuller, still peeled. Not, you know, he's hard to beat. So
yeah, absolutely. He definitely he'll have somebody there to push him, another Olympian, and we'll get to him later though. So that might be a fun matchup. Next up, we got Mehdi Lariani, who he was an Olympian last year, but hasn't really had quite the same success competitively this year. He was second call-outs at Hurricane at prejudging, and I believe was a no-show for finals.
No show.
So, a guy who has plenty of talent. I think it's really just a matter of like how he comes in, and I think a lot of it's just going to come down to getting in front of the judges enough, because they've seen him at Hurricane, and now they're going to see him again. They know he's trying to go for that 2024 Olympia qualification, And the guy has great classic structure.
Mm-hmm.
Just evident from this right here. Peeled out of his mind, too.
Yeah, I thought he was, kind of overlooked at Hurricane personally. I had him in the first call out
Yeah,
prior to the
I
show.
completely agree with you, man.
I'm wondering if the no show, if it wasn't for a good reason, if that'll hurt him here. It's a possibility, but I mean, shape wise, structure wise, like he looks good. He definitely looks good, and he gets. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. When he qualified, he won this show.
I believe so.
He was pretty peeled that show. I
Yeah, and
remember.
this would have been the 2021
Correct.
Texas State Pro.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing him, and he was peeled.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love his structure too. He has just like that very ideal shoulder to waist ratio, like kind of that hourglass looking shape, like the wide sweeping lats that tie into the tiny waist, and then the quads that just kind of kick out too. So I really like his structure.
Really deep, like rec fins too. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, that's something that very, very few guys have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Mehdi Lariani. Let's see what else. Instagram is not behaving. Who's next? Oh, okay. We got Rob next. All right. I'll just pull him up. Next up, we've got someone making his pro debut. This is Rob Lawrence. This is a good friend of mine. So this is a recent update. This is from a couple of days ago at Las Vegas Fit Club, I believe. And he just turned pro at USA's one Class B in Classic Physique. This is a guy who's competing at the amateur ranks in the top, like placing top 3, top 5 in just about every national show for years. So I'm really happy he finally turned pro. Definitely deserving of it. And what I think Rob's strengths are is definitely structure. Condition is always there, and I think his muscle maturity for a guy who's as young as he is, I think Rob's 20, I want to say 29. He's got great muscle maturity for his age. So just looking at this posing video right here, Will, what do you notice about his physique that stands out to you?
You said he was Class B, right? USA?
Yeah.
I remember this guy. Right here, what stands out to me is I just, because it's smaller on my screen,
Right, yeah.
I can still even see like the graininess in his quads, the vascularity. Obviously, when he turns around, that Christmas tree looks pretty wild. Really good structure, man. I don't think he's really missing anything. I would say like his weak point's probably his back, just from this right here.
Yeah.
But lots of potential here too, especially for a pro debut. I think it's going to be a very good pro debut.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Couldn't agree more. So that is Rob Lawrence. Next up, we've got the guy who I think is probably going to push Urs the most, Eric Wildberger. Same coach as you, man. Coached by the men's physique GOAT Cuts. So Eric Wildberger just made his Olympia debut. He won the Optimum Classic this past year. And he's a massive human, just a big dude. Huge, wide frame. I think Eric's like, I want to say he's like 6'2", 6'3".
He's about, I think he's about 6'2". I mean, I competed against him last year. And let me just say, he's the nicest dude you'll ever freaking meet. His English wasn't super good, and we took him out for sushi after. And he like didn't order anything. And I was like, oh, maybe he doesn't like sushi. But he just didn't know what to order. So I ordered him like heck of plates, and he smashed it all. He was so happy. Really nice guy. I will say he's improved a lot from last year. Like this dude blew up. I can say like last year when I was competing against him, I was like, oh, like I can stand next to him. This year I'd be like, damn, like I gotta stand next to this fool. You know what I mean? So he definitely blew up. I originally honestly had him winning the show. Obviously, now we have another contender coming in. I think if anyone's going to be pushing Urs, it will most likely be him, especially because of the height. Because Urs is a taller dude too. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's taller.
Yeah, Urs is about 5'11".
Yeah, so I think that's the tall guys here, man. Definitely, he gets peeled too. I think for him, his biggest down flaw is probably the posing. Aside from that, though, I mean, he's definitely a contender.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You mentioned the one thing that I was going to point out is his posing. I definitely think his posing has improved. However,
It definitely has.
having because I saw him compete at Pittsburgh in person, and I noticed his posing was like pretty questionable. But at the Olympia, I think it got better. And one thing that I will say and give Eric credit here for is he doesn't really have the smallest waist, but he poses around it extremely well.
Extremely well. Yep.
He knows how to pose to his strengths.
And keep in mind, he came from men's physique too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's impressive. That's a lot of size put on.
Yeah. So that is Eric Wildberger out of Brazil. Next up, we've got another pro debut. This is Jesus Martinez. So he turned pro in 2022 at NPC Universe. You can see here. So this is right before he turned pro, actually. I think he might be working with Ray Baker, actually. So pretty good coach there. But Jesus is a guy who's got a lot of muscle. I really like his lines through his quads. Got really solid arms too. Will, what do you see when you look at his physique here in this slow posing video?
I'm assuming he's a shorter guy.
Yeah, Class A.
Yeah, definitely good amount of muscle for a Class A guy. I mean, just right here, I agree. His arms look really good. His quads. When he turned around, his hamstrings have nice conditioning to them. I think he's bringing a really good package for his pro debut.
Yeah, completely agree, man. I'm really excited for this guy. I think he's got great potential. So that is Jesus Martinez. Next up, we've got Jamal Ono. He's a Masters Pro, I believe. Did not place at the Ultimate Warriors Pro, but I see a lot of promise, especially here. I think his lower body is his strength. Just looking at this shot right here, this front lat spread, lots of great separation through the quads. Looks very, very hard, like the muscle is just pressing against the skin. I will say probably the one weak point that needs to come up, because he's got great structure. He looks very good from the front. Definitely needs more lats, more back thickness, and probably glutes as well. That would be probably my critique here. But yeah, fantastic structure.
Definitely have to agree with you on that. I think you hit it spot on.
So that is Jamal Ono. And last but certainly not least, we've got Bo Santos. So Bo is also coached by Cuts, and Bo's a shorter guy, but I think he's got great structure. I'm a really big fan of Bo's physique. Let's see if we can find some more stuff here. Yeah, I love Bo's structure. I think he's just really well put together. What can you say about Bo's physique?
I've known Bo. We actually competed together as amateurs in men's physique. And that was probably back in like 2015. So definitely this guy trains hard. He used to come to San Diego, or he came to San Diego with me once to train. We trained once in Sacramento. Trains really, really hard. That's why he has that dense muscle. Really, really solid shape to him. I believe he's 5'4", so definitely on the shorter end. But to me, I think he has great flow, great quads. When he hits that vacuum and does his favorite classic, it's very, very classic. Yeah. I think as he continues to grow, he's just going to improve. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I don't think he has any glaring weak points. Just very balanced. Just needs more size. That's really the tail.
It's hard as because I was a Class A guy too. It's hard as like short guys because obviously clavicles aren't quite as wide. So just gotta pack on as much as you can. And I know he has a lot for the cap too that he can still fill out. So he's gonna continue to like get more dangerous and continue to improve for sure.
Absolutely, man. So that is Bo Santos, and that's our full Texas State Pro lineup in Classic Physique. Now, what we'll do here is Will and I are going to pick our first call out. We'll just throw out some names, then we'll pick our winner. So, Will, who are some guys you're looking out for in that first call out? I'm assuming since it's a smaller lineup, we're probably only going to get a 4 or 5 man first call out. That's my guess here. Who are some guys that you're looking at for that first call out?
All right, so I'm just gonna start from the top. I'm gonna go Barbs. Urs, Eric. Let's see. I think Medi will get in there. Let's see. Who's the guy, the 6th place guy from the Hurricane?
Emilio.
I think Emilio will be in there too. I might be missing someone, so let's see who you have. I might change that up, but I think that's probably going to be the first call out for me.
Yeah, I completely agree with your first call out. Those are the 5 guys that I think are definitely going to be in contention there. Just because, so the obvious ones are Urs and Eric because they made the Olympia this past year. They're probably the hottest hands right now. So definitely Urs and Eric. And then going back to last year Olympians, so Barbs and then Medi. So those are guys who've won pro shows, proven. And then also, like you said, Emilio. I think Emilio looks great and probably could have even been higher than 6th at Hurricane. Hurricane was a very talented lineup.
I agree.
So
I think what's very impressive about this lineup too is we got a lot of guys who can get conditioned, and you don't see that super often. You see a lot of like mix and match, but like everyone we just picked gets pretty conditioned, so it's gonna be fun to see.
Yeah, and I think every guy we went through, with the exception of one of them, our critiques did not include condition, which is very, very rare when I go through these lineups with people. So, so yeah, that definitely speaks to the ability of these guys to just suffer and get in great shape. So I also do want to say, kind of on that fringe of the first call out, I could see a couple of these guys who are making their debut get in there. I could see Kyrie, his shape, if he's in razor sharp condition, I think he could get there. And then maybe Rob Lawrence as well. I think Rob, though he's not quite the biggest guy, probably could, add a little bit more muscle to really start to, have that upward trajectory in his pro career, though he's very early on. I think Rob's got great condition and his shape will carry him pretty far. I think those guys will definitely be top 10. It's just a matter of how they stack up versus some of these, seasoned pros. But, and then, Will, who are you picking to win?
I think we have the same person to win. Like I said, I had Eric originally, but I'm gonna have to go with Urs on this one.
Yeah, completely agree, man. Kind of a no-brainer. 3rd place in the world. He's only gotten better since last year. Probably the best showman in all of the IFBB right now. He just brings so much fun to the stage. The crowd loves the guy.
He's always
for
smiling,
good reason.
Always smiling. He seems like a really nice guy, to be honest. So
yeah, he is. I met him at the Arnold last year because he was training at the gym that I actually grew up training at, and saw him there. Very nice, down to earth guy. Took the time to talk to me, even though he was just very, very depleted. So, but yeah, so it looks like Will and I have the same pick to win the Texas State Pro. That's Urs Kalachinsky. And before we get out of here, again, I just want to thank Will for taking the time out of his day to preview the Texas State Pro with me. Make sure, again, you go support him here. Follow his Instagram. It's WillSage_. And check out all of his links. Will, do you have anything you want to say to the people?
Just thanks for bringing me on. I love what you're doing and how you are, broadcasting for Classic Physique. I would say Men's Physique has Men's Physique News. I think you're that for Classic Physique. So just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Means the world, truly. Just trying to put people on to Classic Physique and just talk about the sport I love, man. So,
100%, man.
yep. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for the preview today. Again, if we find a live stream, I'll be sure to put that in the YouTube description as well as on my Instagram story and post about it as well. So, like I said, that's going to do it for the video today. And make sure you keep it classic. Brant signing out.